Hey up you bubs. Here we go. Hello Buster. Right. We're off on a little bit of a talk. Okay. All I wanted to do this morning was talk about reflexivity, and really in response to what's going on with Iran, Venezuela. Obviously we've got the situation where the US has gone in, special forces got in, arrested Maduro, the communist, with a very low percentage approval rating, better than Starmer's obviously, but they've gone in and arrested him and apparently sorted out a deal, and they're not going to leave until they've got their guy. The US have got their guy in Venezuela. To me, it just smacks of Iraq. Weapons of mass destruction, an excuse to go in. Who knows what the real reason is? I think we can all guess. And then, years later, you've got Putin with the special operation against the Donbass. Of course, when he goes in, because of a regime, and wanting to change it. If Putin goes in and does it, Putin, bad man, he's like Hitler and wants to basically take over all of Europe. But when Trump does it, taking over Venezuela, the press have all got behind it, and all of a sudden it's exactly the right thing to do because they're evil communists. Oh, don't get me wrong, I don't like communism, and communism is literally the worst of the two. In terms of communism or fascism, probably communism's worse. I don't know, it depends if you put them next to each other, communism and fascism. Who killed more people? Who killed more? Well, it's in the hundreds of millions when, in the 20th century, when it comes to Mao, Pol Pot, Stalin, etc. It ain't good, certainly that. But anyway, it's okay when we do it. But it's all looking rather obvious these days. Okay, well that's not really what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the communist tactics, which there's actually a website. It's an updated version of Rules for Radicals. It's an updated version of the famous book, Lefty's kind of handbook, which is Rules for Radicals, and the updated version of that, it's called Beautiful Trouble. There's actually a website, beautifultrouble, all one word, .org, and it's got some of their tactics all over it, very, very organised. And the one I want to talk about today is the one that we've all just basically witnessed, which is regarding the ICE agents in the US. I've watched that same video as everyone else several hundred times. Go on, off you go. Off you go. I've watched it several hundred times. Not 100 times, but I've watched it, and yeah, you can clearly see that she's used the car as a weapon. Whether she was spooked or not, if an officer who's armed points a gun at you and says freeze, don't move, you don't then start hitting the accelerator, spinning the wheels and heading towards an officer. That can be construed as attempted murder. Now, whether the officer was right or wrong or not, he didn't hesitate, open fire. I think he could have done it better, but the point is, and this is straight out of Beautiful Trouble, the protester, Rennie Good, is it? She put the officer in what's called a decision dilemma. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. The cameras are on you, and this is their tactic. So she knew that by basically placing that officer in an impossible situation, heading towards him in a 4-ton vehicle, and giving him really no choice. He could have made a better decision, of course. And I think it's way over the top with aggression. People will argue, well, what else could he have done? I don't know, maybe a little hop to the left, to hop out the way. You know, there's plenty you probably could have done. But again, the decision dilemma was put in his hands. You know, if he does nothing, then what happens? He gets run over. You know, putting his own life in danger. If he does something, then, you know, it can be seen as drastic action and authoritarian, and then that gets plastered everywhere, and it can be used to generate popular revolt, which is exactly what's happened. You know, it's sort of right the way across America. There's riots, there's people attacking ICE officers, and it's really got out of hand. The same thing with Black Lives Matter, and that was another communist ploy. We know because the owners went and bought themselves mansions out of all the donations, and they were self-professed Marxists, trained Marxists. So these tactics, it's called Marxist praxis. So Marxism, as well as being a philosophy of conflict, in every situation there's an oppressor versus oppressed. That's sort of that's the philosophy, but it's also a practice. So Marxist praxis is called, or the inversion of praxis, which is basically it's the practical activity of generating the heat from the conflict, out of which a higher synthesis can be made, and this is the tactics that they're using. It's very obvious with this ICE officer situation, but you can see very clearly how they use these tactics. Really, it's our job to wake up and recognise these tactics before they happen. I thoroughly recommend go and actually look onto this website, Beautiful Trouble, all one word, beautifultrouble.org, and there's tabs for tools, there's a tab for philosophy, and they basically give examples of how it can be used to further their cause. If you're aware of the tactics, as soon as you see them happening, you can call the tactic out. You can call it out as it's happening, and once you call it out, it looks really embarrassing. It looks really embarrassing when you tell them what it is they're doing and they're in the process of doing it. Makes them look stupid, and that's what we've got to do. You know, Marxists always marry the truth to a lie, so they might take something that is true, but then what they do is they marry it to a lie to twist it in their favour, sometimes known as the Motte and Bailey. So there's it's a case of being, what's that? Come on, what's that? Come on. Sometimes it's a case of just recognising it, understand it, and also if you found this helpful, pass it on to someone else as well. Get them to look at the tactics that they're using. You know, the marrying a truth to a lie. It's the truth is what's going to set us free. It's the truth that's going to win through in the end. We've seen how the crazy left basically just use lies all the time. Everything's a lie because they don't believe in truth. They don't believe in objective truth. They don't believe in objective reality. They follow the idealist perspective, kind of the Kantian perspective, which is that you can't know the object. You can't know the object of perception. It is only perception, and therefore, if you can't know the actual truth of the thing, and nobody can, your truth is as good as my truth. Your perception is as good as my truth, and the perception that wins out and is declared truth is that which has the power behind it, and that's the way they see it. So every conversation, every interaction is a power relation for them. They don't believe that there is an objective reality. It's just a case of who shouts loudest, or who shouts, you know, and has the appearance of everyone agreeing, and that for them is the truth. When you're fighting against that, in a conversation with them, you're not on a level playing field. You're not two people discussing something in good faith to arrive at a truth. For them, the map is the territory, and for us, we know it's a map, but we need to discuss things between us so that we can get our maps to align with the actual territory, which is what we call reality. So just a just a quick one to talk about that. Go and check out Beautiful Trouble, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye.